Hey everyone, welcome to Whip Finish Wednesday. Katie and I are really excited. We got a few things to go over. Got some awesome pictures to show, and we got some cool flies to tie. Tonight we're going to be tying the Sparkle Dun, which is one of Craig Mathews' patterns. And come on, Berlin, Steve. Berlin is here. What's up, Chris? How are you doing? So excited to see everyone hopping on here, and especially Josh. We've seen him hopping on the past month or so. It's been awesome seeing a new. I know he's not new now, but new regular. What's up, Jimmy? So yes, we're going to do the improved Sparkle Done, and as many of y'all know, Katie and I will be headed out west in about a month from now. And one of the adventures we're going to go on is we're going to go fishing with Craig Mathews for a few days. And we are really excited. Good day, Ken and Don, and hey, Ed. So we're fishing with him, and one of the he sent us a pretty good list of flies to tie. And last week we tied the rusty spinner, and this week we're going to be tying the improved Sparkle Dun in size 14, in size 16 and 18. This is a PMD Sparkle Dun. What's up, Mike? Good evening to you as well. And hey, Michael. So I've got my little box here, slowly loading it up with flies. We got 3 rows of the spinners, and because I'm gonna really get them in there tight, I'm gonna go 2 rows of these PMD Sparkle Duns. So with that said, Katie has some pictures to show. And unfortunately, Howard the Duck, Howie, we could not get. Oh, let's go live on Instagram just for the fun of it. Howie the Duck, we could not get the video to share, but check out Howard the Duck and check out his purple spinner that he did. But man, this I don't know. This is the foam. I couldn't tell you. It's the standard, I think. It's not one of the fancy ones. Just has
standard HD
UPG standard.
Yeah.
Foam. I don't know. So far, so good. It's pretty good. But yeah, it is slim, but it can get it doesn't crush these wings, so that's pretty nice. So Katie's going to go over the pictures real quick, and thanks to everyone who shared the pictures. Makes this little show a lot more fun. So turn it over to you, Katie.
Okay, so I'm going to share some of the awesome pics that we got this week on Instagram, where you guys tied some spinners up. So first, we're going to start with AK Sled Neck 1.
Oh, Randy, our buddy from Alaska.
And then we have Big T's Trio.
And that was that mayfly up top that landed on his kitchen counter that week. And he's like, I think I'm going to tie some spinners up to match this.
And he does such a good job with his photography collages. I really like that. Speaking of which, I have on my Big T t-shirt tonight.
Absolutely. And real quick, before you keep going, there's Fisher's Flies, who is Howard the Duck, who I was talking about earlier, giving us the peace sign. Swamp Fox, good evening. And Joe, hadn't talked to you yet. Good to see you, Joe.
Okay, so we also have D Bishop, another spinner.
Hold on.
And Gray Ghost sent a few. This is the first picture. And then Surfer Dad 13 right here. So lots of spinners. Duo, and I like how he's put it on the movers. Awesome. And Ken B. Check the email, and Ken B's got I would call that a swarm of spinners in many colors. And then just for fun, Patrick Smith has his English Coffee prize pack that he got from our big draw. Yeah. If you haven't tried English coffee, it's the best. And did we talk about the Big T gift card?
Nope, not yet.
Okay. Well, I'm going to send it back to you then.
All righty. And Joe, I think you said sound. I hope I hope you don't mean you can't hear us. And what's up, Gary? And thanks, Steve. I think you're right. Those are some really good flies. So last week we did spinners. I want to show you a quick trick that I learned, or that not really learned, but that I tried out. And John Collins, who is someone can chime in what his name is, Electric Tire.
Electric tire.
He was saying burn the ends, and I tried to halfway do it. I was like, and he came back later on that evening or the next day and was like, no, you got to use pliers. You got to use something to hold it. And I tried it. So let me just show you. We switch over to the tying desk, and I'm going to hopefully turn this off and then back on so I can see what I'm doing. I'll flip it back on in a second. So we've got our, we'll pretend like this is our material that we're going to do a spinner wing with. I'm just going to use this Umpqua clip here while I'm getting YouTube going at the same time. There we go. So you just take the clip, kind of get it together, make sure the fibers are somewhat together. Don't have to make a big deal about it. We're going, can you see what I'm doing? Yeah. What we're going to do is just cinch it. Okay. Then we're going to take it again, however wide or whatever you want. We'll take our scissors, cut that off. So we've got our other piece here. See, I mean, not too big a deal. And okay, there we go. The second time my lighters quit on the show. You come, pull it together. Now you got this end here that there's one fiber that came off it. This is a lot easier to tie in, for your spinner wings than having them loose. And then when you're done, you just pull it back, cut it, and you're good to go. So that's a neat little trick there for keeping your spinner wings together as you're tying. So you don't have to worry too much about catching your dubbing in there, if that makes any sense. So definitely kind of keep that in mind while you're when you're doing this. So Joe, thanks a lot. And I've got my YouTube so I can see your comments now. So that is a cool tip. So thanks a lot, John Collins, for showing us that tip. And speaking of cool stuff, we'll be mentioning it here and there, but we've got a quick surprise for you. Today, Katie actually got an email from Big T, and it was a $25 gift card, and he said you guys can give it out. And Big T, do a brush at once. Yep. He gave us this gift card. That's a fancy one there. Katie, why don't you pull that one and get a new one? I didn't realize the code was on there. We'll have to tell them to cancel that one. It's a new one. But the Big T sent us a $25 gift card to give out to you guys. So on the YouTube video, after it's posted, comment whatever you want to, but use Big T in the comment. And next week we'll draw a winner, and whoever it is will get a $25 gift card. $25 gift card, use a Big T or the Sukui Outfitters, same place. And I'm not the only one who cannot pronounce Sukui. I'm probably still mispronouncing it. What's up, Ben? So comment after the YouTube video is over. Use the term Big T anywhere in your comment. We'll draw a winner next week. So that pretty much cover it, Katie?
That's it.
All righty. So this is where we're going to tie in the vise right here. Hopefully we can switch it over to the vise, please, ma'am. She's working on it. Okay, there we go. So here's our size 16 PMD sparkle done, or excuse me, improved sparkle done. So it has the Zelon in the post or in the wing, as well as the deer hair. We got the Zelon shuck. On this particular one, I've got Kapok. This is the Sulfura Kapok, or sulfur colored Kapok. We're also going to use a Zelon dubbing and PMD as well. So we'll tie maybe 3. This is not too long of a time. The shuck on this one might be just a touch long, but I tied a few that were on the short side, so I wanted to do them a little longer. So with that said, we'll pull this one out of the vise, stick her in my cup here, and get going. As far as hooks that we're going to use either the Tiemco 100 SPBL in size, sorry, I can't go all the way down, 18 or 16 right there. We're going to use the Arex Freshwater 503 size 16 or 18. And both the shank links are very similar. We'll start off with the Umpqua version. Evening, Trout Deceiver. Nice to see you guys. And Mike Phillips, thanks for hopping on. So we'll start off with this size 16 Umpqua SBBL. And I'll show you the difference in the hooks. Both these are phenomenal hooks. So here's the Tiemco. I keep saying Umpqua, the Tiemco in the vise. And we'll pull out the size 16 Arex and show you the difference. As far as shank lengths, you can see they're got the eyes lined up, or where the bend of the hook is, or the bend of the eye. You can see they go back to, there we go, bend it down. So shank wise, they're roughly the same length. Hook gap wise, I think the Arex has a slightly bigger hook gap. Holding it up here, I don't know. But the Arex has got more of a claw point, where the Umpqua or the Tiemco is a little more straight. Thoughts on down over straight out for this pattern? I'm going with down eye because that's what Mr. Mathews has said to use. But if you, as you can see in this, if all I had were the 101s right here, if that's all I had, I'd have no problem using it. I don't think it's a game changer if you've got down eye or straight eye for this particular pattern. But I'm gonna go with the straight eye, or the down eye, excuse me. And if you're watching on YouTube, come over and check us out on, if you're watching on Instagram, come over and check us out on YouTube. So you can see a little bit better. For all these flies, we're going to be using the Semperfli 12-aught classic wax thread, and okay, got to follow the camera, and Primrose. Dubbing, like I said, we're going to use either this Zelon dubbing from Blue Ribbon Flies, Zelon from Blue Ribbon Flies, and I promise that, I mean, I've only talked to, what's up, Umberto, our Italian buddy. Van Down, yeah. Now, down by the river, he is not in a van down by the river, but he is hanging out in Italy. Umberto is a great dude. We loved hanging out with him when we went to visit him. But so this hair, believe it or not, came from Blue Ribbon Flies a little while ago. I needed something that would tie smaller, but not super small. And I just didn't have the perfect hair. So I called, and we've talked about this before. Getting the right hair for what you're tying is so important. And I called and said I needed to tie a certain pattern. And then they sent me this, and this is let's go back. Yep, this is Sparkle Done by 16. That's what they wrote on it. It's not fancy packaging. It just came in a Ziploc bag. But to be able to tell someone exactly what size that you're going to tie and have them ship you the exact stuff is pretty cool. And Steve, I don't know anyone over there. And it might be hit or miss. Maybe I just happened to talk to the right person there. I don't know. But they've never offered to give us a $25 gift card. I don't even think they follow us anywhere. So I'm just saying, to have that opportunity for them to actually give you service like that, sometimes you just can't buy. Okay, so hair, chuck, dubbing, and we'll also be using the Semperfli K-Fock dubbing on some of them. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start our thread, and the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to figure out kind of how big I want my head. Let's go back just a little bit. Yep. Get my thread, nice little base of thread started. I'm going to pull it back up or break the thread off. And I see I got one little straggler there where I broke it. That's okay. It's not or hurt anything. So where my thread's hanging right now is where I want the deer hair coming up. So pretty much anything in front of my fingernail is going to be a head. It'll be the wing and head, and then behind it's going to be body and shuck. So now we're going to put Sony the guy up here and land sucks. Just call. I would call blue quill angler or sorry blue ribbon flies or blue quill angler. Call them and see if they will go through and select something for you. And if they're like, well, this just says compared on here, then just say no, thank you. I'll call someone else. So let's switch over to the side here. All right, so I've got my deer hair here. I'll use my scissors, and we've put a tutorial on how to stack and get deer hair together. So I'm not gonna go over too much. But one thing after looking and working with Craig is don't be afraid to go a little bit thicker than you think you might need on these flies, because you can get pretty thin pretty quick. And even though, on still water, thinner will float okay. Really, the more hair you can get in there, I won't say the better, but it's harder to put too much hair than too little, as long as you get stacked well. Now, because these are very fine fibers, I want to make sure I get it really, really clean, spend a little bit extra time on it. And this is one of these, like, does it make a big deal if it's stacked perfectly? Probably not, but I like for them to have a nice clean stack. So I'm gonna pull out my hair stacker, put the tips in. If I lose a couple, that's fine. And we'll stack it together. Now, if you notice that there's one or two hairs that you see the butt ends, they're just not stacking, just grab it, pull them out. Sometimes those are broken. Sometimes they're bent. Sometimes they've just got a piece of underfur stuck on them, and it's almost like it's almost like Velcro in there. So let's switch over to the hook again. So Steve was saying get a big stacker. If you look, this is a very small stacker, and I'll put this light so you can see. There we go. Okay. So see how the hair is only about a third? I could go with even a smaller stacker on this. The bigger the stacker, or if your stacker is too big, it will not stack as cleanly as an appropriately sized stacker. So bigger is not always better. And actually, I probably could have gotten away with this smaller tube on this stack. So we've got our hair. We'll pull it out. So you can see the tips are nice and lined up. Pull these. And now I'm going to measure. So you can see we've got our nice, short, fine black tips. And I'm going to have them go, the way I'm looking at it is for me, the way I've been tying them is that tip, the absolute tip, to line up with the eye, the front of the eye. And I'm looking right here at the bend of the hook. So right where the hook starts bending, I'm going to find a point on that hair. And that is where I want the thread to go. So I'm going to angle this up. I won't say angled up, but I don't want to angle the tips down. They either need to be flat or slightly angled up. And the reason I'm saying that is when I loosely put a wrap of thread around this, I don't want that thread to slide down and slide off. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to put 2 wraps of thread. There's 1, 2. You see how that thread slid just a little bit? It's okay, because we kind of compensated for that. 2 wraps, now pull tight. And you see how the thread or the deer hair flared right there? That's exactly what we want. I just have 2 wraps of thread in there right now. I'm going to put 3 or 4 more. 1, kind of working the thread back a little bit. So I don't have very many thread wraps there, but I've let go of my thread. I'll hold those butt ends up. Use my scissors. Well, get in there, hold it tight, cut it off. So this is a size 16, so not very big, not very small. This is the biggest one we're going to tie. And I'm going to do kind of a loose wrap and then pull tight. Loose wrap, pull tight, pull tight, pull tight. What I don't want to do is what it almost did just now and start spinning. I'm going to work my thread back just a little bit because I want that thread to be nice and anchored as I work it back up. Like this. So let's make sure that we're good. See, I've got plenty of room in the front of that wing and plenty of room behind it. So proportion-wise, we're looking fine. I'm not worried about these butt ends quite yet. So let's switch it over to the working camera. Okay, so I've got my Z-line here, and this is the way I like to prepare it. Oh, I'll make it easier. I'm going to take my Z-line, I'm going to tie a knot in it. Usually there's just like one long piece, and I just grab a piece and tie a knot and then cut it. But in this case, since that piece just came out, and so now this is locked in here, just an overhead knot, nothing fancy. I'm going to even these tips up here. So now as I'm tying multiple flies, I'd get one tied and cut it off. One tie, I can keep going down this and I'm not wasting as much. So I'm not going through a piece with every single fly. And the knot down here just kind of keeps everything aligned. So every time I grab this and pull it tight and cut, it's going to be lined up every time. Does that make sense? I hope so. All right, so we'll switch back over to the hook here. So I'm going to take my piece of Z-Lon, set it right there. And I want it to be roughly the same length as the tips. It can be a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. You can always cut out anything that is like a errant fiber or stray fiber. I'm going to wrap this, pull it forward, pull tight, put 2 or 3 wraps here. That's 4. So I've got that tied in. I want to make sure I'm looking right here where I tied it in to make sure I tied that Z-Lon in right where I tied the deer hair in. Because if I tie it in back here, I'm going to have to work my way forward again, make sure it's down. And sometimes my length, the Z-Lon's not right. Sometimes it just doesn't come out quite right. So what's up, Mr. Rowley? Fancy seeing you on here. So now I've got a full chunk of Z-Lon here. And that's just that little tip right here. I like the fluffier wing. I like more sparkle in the wing. But that shuck's going to be a little bit thick for a size 16 and definitely for a size 18. And we get smaller, it'll definitely be too small, too thick. So I just grabbed the Z-Lon. Let's zoom in for everyone on Instagram. Maybe this will work. I had it right. There we go. So I just grabbed the Z-Lon. I pushed forward, find my scissors again. And I'm just going to grab a piece, just stick my scissors in, see about how many I cut out, not too many. So I'm going to cut a few more out. So I just cut some of the Z-Lon out, kind of pull it back a little bit, see what I've got, cut a few more out. This is just kind of this might be overkill. But now I pull this out, twist it, and now I'm just going to work my thread back again, all the way to that hook bend, and bring it back up. And cut this. I'm going to pull it tight and cut it just a shade shorter than the hook shank, and it sucks back up in itself. And we've got a nice little, you want this to be 1/2 to 3/4 the length of the body. What else have you done if you don't have Z-Lon? Trigger point fibers. I think someone brought that up last week, would work really good. Parapost material. Poly yarn from Snipperfly would be good. Z-Lon or Antron would be okay. It's sparkly, but it's in a pinch. You could use Antron. Those would be my initial suggestions if you're wanting that shuck look. But you could also do the same type of tail that we did last week and just do a split tail. See that the EP sparkle, the EP trigger point fibers would be the good. And I'm going to start playing that predator fiber a little bit because I haven't used that much. And I didn't think about that. Dubbing would work well too. So here's the good question. Whoever asked that. So here's one of the big tricks that Craig does that I would highly recommend. So before I paid it, or before I watched Craig, I would just take my fingers, pull my wing up like this, and put a thread dam right here. And that's okay. And it obviously works, but you just by using that thread dam, the fibers, the deer hair will start to go forward a little bit. And depending on how well you propped it up, it could go forward more than you expect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the post or the Z-Line and some of the deer hair fibers. I'm gonna put a loose wrap in here and pull tight. Watch what happens when I pull tight. See how those just kind of flex a little bit? And this is going up a little bit. The deer hair is going up a little bit more. The same thing right here in the middle. See how the deer hair, the fibers are springing to life, springing up. I'll make sure when fibers start wrapping around, make sure they somewhat go back the right way. And now I'll pull everything up on top. Work my thread forward. I've got this one little guy. There we go. Back, and now I can put a little bit of a thread dam in. I don't need much. So now you can see I've got a really nice shaped wing. See how it kind of goes back, even on the sides here, it goes back. Pull this up. See how that's the way it's going to stay a lot more than if you just do a thread dam right in front. So that's our wing. The wing's pretty much done. I mean, you can just throw a little dubbing on here and be done. But we're going to bring our thread back just to about the halfway point, about where the hook point is. Any questions so far? Get that wild hair in my OCD. Can't. Where is it? Which wild one? And you could just answer like Katie and say, it's right there. It's that one. And I'll be like, dang, got one. Just going to kind of feather out the Z-Line a little bit. Okay. So we'll start with the, this is the PMD like Cahill Z-Line dubbing. And all this is, I believe, is rabbit dubbing, squirrel dubbing with some Z-Line mixed in. And when I've seen Craig use this, he's pretty big on just keeping it shaggy, not worrying about it too much. But I will say, when you're dubbing this, make sure that you are dubbing it very thin. When people are tying mayflies, one of the big things that, just in my opinion, one of the big mistakes that people make, take it with for what it's worth, but is that they'll make the bodies too thick. And if you notice on the fly, I've already got a nice taper there, so I don't need to make it. Gary will tell us where it is. I've already got a nice taper in there, so I don't need for my dubbing to get thicker at the bottom. Just a nice thin dubbing noodle, and it'll be good to go. And we'll show you one more trick here. Okay, so we've got our dubbing noodle. See, that's pretty thin. That's really thin, and it looks huge on the screen. So I'm gonna pull this back. I'm gonna hold on to the tail because I'm gonna give it a slight little twist. Work my thread back until I get right to the back, and there we go. My dubbing starts. Now with touching wraps, bring this up. If I catch some Z-Line for my wing, I can push it forward a little bit, but just leave it alone. It's not the end of the world. All right, so I'm going to bring it up to right about here until I can fit one more rapid dubbing in between the wing and the body. So I'm going to take all this, pull it back, expose that hook shank in front of the eye, or behind the eye, or front of the eye, what you're going to say. Bring my thread all the way to the front. And I'm going to work that dubbing noodle back. And you see I'm going on top and then under, on top, then under. And I'll push all this forward again. And I'm going to use this dubbing noodle, coming around like that. We'll look at it, see if that's good. I think that's fine. So I did one wrap behind. Now I'm going to bring my noodle back to the front. That's plenty. I'm really, you see that little bit of dubbing there. That's probably maybe a 1/4 inch. I could probably just wrap it on there. And now we've got our sparkle done, improved sparkle done. Ken, thanks for hopping on. We look forward to seeing you or email us another picture. That was awesome this week.
It was.
What's up, Freddie? Thanks for hopping on. Now I'm gonna put a little that good Sally's on here. Take that big drop off of there and whip finish. So sorry, I can't count to 5 while I'm talking at the same time. And I don't like it when it like you'd say that's a big mistake on my part when I got to do whip finish and pull it and it breaks the thread. I do not like that at all. So try not to do that. But because it's got that Sally Anson's in there, we'll say it's okay. But you see, we've got a nice little silhouette there at the bottom. The Zelon's not way too long, but it's going to add some nice sparkle and flotation to the fly. Good length on the shuck, and that rabbit dubbing, the Zelon dubbing is really spiky. Let's find a vein somehow. We're going. Working can work is overrated. Yeah, tell me about it. Quote work. It's not much fun. So now we're going to switch over to hey, there's one with the K-pop. That's what we're going to do next. But we'll shrink it down. We'll use the size 18 Arex Freshwater 503. Did you brush that? I did not, Joe. That is just the wonderful Katie's camera picking up every little fiber and the fact that it is a buggy dubbing. And you'll see in just a second one that's not quite as buggy, but you'll still see some fibers and stuff coming off. All right. So now we're going to do the same thing. Switch over so we can
straighten out a little bit.
Straighten out. What am I straightening out? All right. So we're going to cut off a little chunk here. So I've got it by the butts where it is cut. Hold it by the tips. Grab like this and spin it or twist it so it opens everything up. Get my comb. And I'm sure, Nan, you're the big CNF lady in the house. Have you gotten the comb yet? If you don't have a CNF comb, that is fine. You can use the Stonfo comb. You could probably buy 10 of these for one Stonfo comb. You can go and borrow your wife's or your own eyelash comb, whatever you want. Brushing the dubbing, or does it compromise the flies floating? And Chris, he puts a quail feather on top of the Zealand chuck. Huh. I've never seen him do that. I'll have to ask him about that. That is interesting, Jim. I'd probably wait. Depending on the dubbing, I'd probably not. I'd probably not. Well, Nan, this will be on your list. If it's just one of those things, just like the bobbin twister, like you need to spend $40 or $30 on one of these things. No, but this does pull out more than the plastic Stonfo comb. But I think I used this exact comb for 6 years and got along just fine. So use yearling elk hair for the wing. That might be a little bit thick, and like Steve said, it has to be hollow. When you tie it in, it has to have that spring. It's got to flare. If it's not, then it's just not going to work. So I've got switch it back over to there we go. Thank you. I've got my clump of deer hair, and this is a pretty big chunk for the size 18, but we're going to make it work. So same thing. I've got the black tips. Those black tips are almost the diameter of a hair, and then it thickens up and you got the nice hollow stuff here. But I'm looking for that one spot roughly right there. I'm gonna spin my thread. That way, A, it's going to go the right way, and B, it will give it a little bit more bite, or excuse me, strength Take my butt ends. I mean, that's a big chunk. See a big chunk of deer hair. Like I said, this might be just a touch much for this fly, but kind of Mother's Day is coming up. The kids give me. Ooh, Ric Flair. That's right. Got to make sure you get that Ric Flair on theirs. And I could cut some of that back, but I'm not going to. I'm just gonna bring my thread back, forward. I'm gonna kind of compress those and build a nice little ramp going up. I'll check everything. Remember, this is an 18, so we really don't want much room here. I've got my wing tied in. We need the Z-Lon. So I'm gonna pull that same piece, and this is what I was saying. Remember how we kind of feathered it out and pulled and cut some of the fibers out? So I'm going to straighten everything up, grab it by the knot, pull out, and then just cut just 1/8 of an inch. Not like that much. That way we're squaring up our Z-Lon again. And anyone who's watching on Instagram, look us up over on YouTube. That's where we're live as well, and you'll be able to see better and hear better. Instagram guys, this will end my public announcement. Oh gosh. Katie knows how funny I am.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, gosh, that guy, that's why I married him. It's a sense of humor.
That's right.
All right, so I'm just cutting a little bit more of the Z-Lon out that I did on that size 16. Just kind of keep it up on the top of the, oh, that's not what you want. Keep it up on top of the hook shank. Do you like that? Oh, that's not what I want. All twisting does is keep it on top of the hook shank and make it to where it'll give a nice little, somewhat uniform body. So get that tied in, work our way down. Don't really have much real estate here to play with. So you can't pull very hard like I just did. Okay, so we'll twist. Now we'll wrap this back. Okay, and now we'll bring our thread back up just like we did a minute ago. We want to make sure that I've got that tied in right. Pull everything. Craig says a third, and a third. I probably do more like a third, 10%, 15%. I probably don't get it quite. The third and third and third. But when you tighten it, you want to see that flare. Okay. So now we've got our, well, that looks terrible, didn't it? So let's get this cleaned up just a pinch. Cut this out of there. Well, kind of messed that part up right there. You can see where I got too much in there, but I think we'll be able to fix it with the dubbing. I'm an expert witness for, okay. Man. Thank you, Joe. All right, so I'll just bring it right here. We'll do a nice little thin, same thing, thin K-Pog dubbing noodle. It might be, I mean, for the same size fly, it's going to be a little bit longer. For an 18, it's probably going to be about the same length as the 16, but it's just super thin. So we'll stretch that out just a little bit. And we'll bring this around. And what's interesting is when you watch Craig tie them, And he'll capture a whole bunch of fibers, and then he's like, "It's okay, don't worry about it." So I'm going to somewhat live vicariously through him for a minute. So real thin, push my wing forward. Don't want to capture too many. Now, because I kind of spread that wing out a little bit, I'm going to put an extra one here and then one more there. Pull all this back. Do the same thing. Let's see how we're looking. Close. I do need a little bit more dubbing, though. That's what I get for saying you need to put more dubbing on than not putting enough on myself. But if I've heard it once, I've heard it a bunch. It's easier to add dubbing than it is to take it off. And that is true with K-pop, like most other dubbings. That should be enough. Fingers crossed. All right, so I'm going to bring this behind. Let's pull this forward. I like using the rotary so I can see where else I want to capture a whole bunch of this. Do one more. Pull it back. Now we'll bring that forward. And just a touch more dubbing on there than I need. I think we're okay. So now let's see if we fixed our little issue there. See how it looks. See, that looks pretty good. Not the best in the world, but not terrible. I think I could fish it. So now we'll do the same thing. Put a little bit of Sally Hansen's on there and twist it. So for those of you all who weren't either paying attention, weren't on, Big T has offered a $25 gift card. And just to keep it simple, we'll just say comment on the YouTube video after we've posted it. And just anything in the video, comment, just use the term Big T, but in your comment, and we will draw a winner next week for a $25 gift card for Big T. You can get a cool. His t-shirts are super comfy. That's what both Katie and I have going on right now. Let's try one more 18. See if I can.
See if you can bang one out.
See if I can bang one out. Thank you, Katie. So you can fight the Lord's try. You can get Katie. Gary is calling you out.
If you call watering turf working out, then yes.
I wish I could show a picture. I sent it to Truman. I should have sent it to Gary. I should have sent it to Eric. I should have posted it. The wonderful picture of you doing yard work yesterday.
I do yard work every day.
That was just interesting because I don't know if I've ever seen someone sweep grass. Like she had a regular broom.
I use my old broom to sweep grass.
Yeah.
But he means like I actually sweep grass, like the grass, like not sweeping like grass into the something. Okay. I use a broom for a lot of other things besides sweeping. Mm-hmm. I use it for putting straw back where it goes. I use it for getting mulch off grass blades. I use it for smoothing. The dog. I use it for smoothing mulch.
Yes. And yes. All right, so we've got
straw broom is a great tool. Yeah.
See those little fibers right there. That fur. Oops, it's on the wrong side. That fuzz.
John, are you trying to sleep on the couch?
Yes.
I don't mind. I am not ashamed of my yard working one bit. It gets the job done, and the yard looks amazing, in my opinion.
The yard is looking much, much better for sure.
Now that I've gotten around to it.
Oh yes. You know, we used to make those in Boy Scouts. We made a round to it. I bet I'm not the only one who knows about a round to it. Now, Gary, did I say hitting me, or was I just thinking it when earlier? I'm just kind of curious because I was definitely thinking it.
Yeah, I mean, they can be useful for a tool of deterrence. You can chase after people with them. You can make them think that you might be a witch. So I have, how many straw brooms do we have around here? A bunch.
Well, Misha likes them a lot.
Well, yeah.
Not so much anymore. When she was a puppy, she enjoyed.
Yeah, she messed one of them
the
up.
taste of a straw broom.
And there's a difference between straw and hay, by the way.
Yes, when you're sowing grass, as you're such a good grass sower. Just for the fun of it, I'm going to use this light down on this one. Might be a touch more visible. And this light down has a pinch of dubbing in it. Let's see if I can get it out. Didn't be like, don't worry about it. All right, Joe. Wait for no one. Joe, that's awesome. I wish we were going striped bass fishing with you.
Hi, Joe.
Does anyone know anyone in Nashville, by the way? Because I have got a date.
I wonder if Nashville locals are like, I'm getting out of town this weekend.
Probably. I've got a date this weekend, and you guys are never going to guess what I'm doing.
You're going to be a Swiftie dad.
Cha-ching. Guys, don't be JJ. Don't be jealous.
John's going to be a Swiftie dad this weekend in Nashville.
And I'd say more people than I would care to admit know what a Swiftie dad is. And I would not know what a Swiftie dad is until all these shenanigans happened. All right, so we're looking good so far. Everything just about tied in. Looking better. Twist this up.
Steve says his cousin is in prison there. That's
in Nashville.
Yeah. That's not helpful.
No, that's not.
Not unless,
I don't think we. I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's going to let us come stay with him.
Well, not if he's in prison.
No, I don't think he can come over and say hey or anything. So we're doing the same thing, just bringing this down, pulling up little pieces of it, flaring it, pulling it up. See just that hook eye sticking out. Thread base, bring it back. All right, how's that look? That looks much better, that first one, or that second one. Mucho bettero. And one thing with these flies is they're super, like, you can manhandle them.
Or a woman handle them.
That's right. Like, handle them like you handle me with that broom, just smack them around.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going back. Still using the K-Pock. With the K-Pock, the way I like to use it is I'll pull a piece out. You can see, let's go to the hook so I can show this. See how the fibers are kind of going horizontal like that? When I pull it out, I just get just a little bit and pull it out. So this is what I've got my finger. So that, put it on the hook or the thread and wrap it around. That's what we want. Just like ever so slight of a tuft. Kind of hook it like this. See how I made a V? Then hit it once, and that's it. Like, that's perfect right there. Pull it out, kind of make it connect. See, I got that little V, kind of. We're making a dubby noodle. You don't have to really twist this on. It'll just kind of twist itself. And probably I think Joe was asking earlier about brushing it out. Will that make it with having the K-Pot kind of open up? Will make it float a little bit better. Some having it tighter is better because you don't want it to get soaked. but I'm not going to. What's the word? I'm not going to brush either one of them out. I figure like the trout's going to do a pretty good job getting their teeth in there. Hopefully. All right, we'll say that's enough. So you can see we've got a pretty long noodle. That's probably 5 inches or so. For a size 18, that seems like a lot. But this kapok, it's not much thicker than the thread. I mean, it's a pretty darn thin noodle. So hold my bobbin up, bring this down, bring the thread down so I'm not stacking up a big ball of thread. So it needs to go. Unfortunately, we'll have to overlap one wrap or so. Now we'll touching wraps, just like this, keeping that body nice and slim. Remember, guys, comment Big T on your comment this week. Let's be multitasking. All right, so we get back to the back. Got room for one more wrap right at the base of the wing. Pull everything up. Bring that dubbing back to right behind the wing. I'm going to that little X. Might put another one in here because I think it could use it. Pull everything back again. That's pretty much good. I might have put about a ½ inch too much on there. All right. How many flies are you doing with that noodle? Yeah. But I used it all except for maybe the head might be, or the front might be just a touch thick. But it's the noodle just looked really thick and it was long, but it was super thin. It's a really thin noodle. So as long as the color's there. Thanks. All right. So as I said, this fly is really durable, so I really haven't done much to it now. And fishing it just like that, it'd probably be okay. But you can grab it, pull the fibers, and kind of woman handle or wife handle or husband handle, whatever. What did you say, Katie?
Broom handle.
Broom handle them around. Make them however you want. You can pinch them. You can do them. Craig even talks about if the fly, if the PMDs or whatever you're trying to imitate, if they're laying on their side, so almost like a sailboat laying down, you can just grab this whole wing, just kind of just pull it over to one side, and have it fish whopper jawed. But for a size 18, the sparkle is going to be really nice. That might be just a touch. You can see the sparkle might be a touch long, but not much. As far as silhouette's concerned, it's looking, I guess that kind of puts it in more perspective. I don't have giant hands like how big my fingernail is. You can move it around so it's more purdy. But so we've got our nice little 180-degree sunrise or fan or whatever. We want to have that nice little somewhat thick wing, but the Zelon in the wing really helps to give it some additional buoyancy. Clip once that off the stream and you have a cripple off the stream. I know you're trying to say something else.
No, he's like when you're out at the stream, just clip a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yes. Absolutely. So the I saw that one, Steve, and I've tied it that way as well. He'll tie this part, basically all the dubbing, then tie it in on top, leave the butts up. This is Craig's pattern, so that's why I figured I think we might have tied it Charlie's way at one time, but this works for sure. And I would absolutely use it for a sulfur. Absolutely 100%. I'm no expert, but PMDs and sulfurs are basically, someone's going to tell me I'm wrong if I say they're the same, but they're basically the same. Um, and as I've been talking with Craig about, hey, this is the way when I'm on my local waters are sulfurs, this is how I like to tie them, like doing like a little rusty shock, or this size wise, or the reality is when there's a good sulfur hatch, you're the Elon of Zealand. I wish when I'm doing in the middle of a sulfur hatch, they can be tan, like the sulfurs themselves can be this color. I don't know if the light you can see it. It's like a light tan. Sometimes they can be bright yellow. Sometimes okay, so sometimes they can be this tan color. Sometimes here's a caddis amber. They can be close to that, but more orangish. Sometimes they can absolutely be this primrose color or even a brighter yellow. For me, this sulfuria color, this sulfur color is that was pretty spot on for normally what it is. It's kind of a yellowish orangish color, and absolutely the spinners can be rusty. And a lot of mayflies when they're spent, or when they're done, and they're like DONE done, and they're dying on the water in a spinner fall, a lot of them will turn rusty, and that's why the rusty spinner is such a popular. Not that there's so many red mayflies flying around, but when they die, they turn rusty. And Jeff, just keep us posted. We're super busy right now, but keep us posted. And guys, one more reminder: use Big T on your comment on the YouTube video afterwards, and pick a winner. Love to show Big T a handful of comments. But anyway, my point is, like, there's in most hatches, regardless what it is, it's really hard to say here's the exact size and the exact color combination it's going to be. It's always good to have variations and different colors and sizes. Probably one of the biggest things, Katie, we're in our fish on the South Holston a year or 2 years ago, and we're fishing, I think it was sulfur hatch, and we threw everything in the sun. I really enjoy doing that, trying to figure out what they're hitting, what they're doing, and we just couldn't get anything to hit. And then I had we're 16s and 18s we're throwing, and I threw a size 12 something black, or just a big parachute. It was twice as big as everything out there. Didn't match anything at all, and it got slammed. So sometimes you just don't know what they're going to key in on. But anyway, so there's a few bugs for you. It is just a shade after 10 o'clock, so we will call it a night with that. Guys, thank you so much. Here's the fly that we'll end with. And you see that one's not quite as buggy. It's not quite as I don't want to say messy, but quite as buggy as the first one we did. But it's definitely better than the second one. Size 18 PMD sparkle done. So guys, we really appreciate you all hanging out with us. Hey, Langley, thanks for hopping on. Guys, log in after we post this. Log in and use hashtag Whitfish Wednesday. Use hashtag Whitfish Wednesday to send us your flies, or email them to us at demuthflyfishing@gmail.com.
That's right.
And then after we post this YouTube video, comment anything, use Big T, and we will get you a $25 gift. We'll draw for a $25 gift card for them. And yep. So guys, I'll turn it over to Katie. Thank you so much for hanging out. It's been awesome. We'll see you next week. And probably the hint for next week will be yet another Craig Mathews suggestion, and this will be our hint. Do.
Okay.
See you next week, guys. Take it away, Katie.
Bye, everybody. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I hope you get to do some fishing. And we will see you all next time. Bye.